Hello everyone and welcome to my Sister Wives Gossip. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Real Housewife Emily Simpson. I thought my son was just a picky eater. It was something much more serious. Emily Simpson is one of the stars of The Real Housewives of Orange County. She's raising daughter Annabelle, 12, and twin 10-year-old sons Keller and Luke, with her husband Shane Simpson. Today.com spoke with Simpson about Luke being diagnosed with avoidant/restrictive food intake disorder, RFID. We used to refer to Luke as a picky eater. Now I hate that term. We are so far beyond that. I first realized that Luke had a more severe problem than just picky eating when we went on a cruise last summer. We were out in the middle of the ocean, and he wouldn't eat anything on the buffet at the cruise. Nothing, not a single thing. I thought he was going to starve to death. I was thrilled to spot white rice on the buffet because he eats white rice at home. I thought that was the answer. But this white rice was a different brand than the one I give him at home, so he wouldn't eat it. In the end, we found that he liked the French fries, so he literally ate nothing but French fries for the whole cruise. As a mom, that was heartbreaking. I felt a kind of desperation, panic, being on a ship in the middle of nowhere with a whole variety of food available, and he wanted none of it. That's when I was cognizant that this is not a child who is picky. He needed help. When we got back, I took Luke to 1 or 2 therapy sessions before the therapist told me that he clearly has RFID. Luke has a very severe aversion to 99% of food. He thinks the color and textures are scary, and food smells are overwhelming. That's why the few foods that he does eat are white, bland, have little flavor, and don't have a smell. He will eat very plain slices of turkey, Trader Joe's white rice, and McDonald's fries. I can occasionally get him to eat slices of banana, but they have to be cut vertically, and they can't have any brown spots on them. And really, that's about it. If he goes to a friend's house, I send him with food. If stays overnight, I connect with the parents to let them know that he won't eat pizza or chicken nuggets. Most of his friends and their parents understand and make accommodations. This morning, Shane tried to introduce him to honeycomb cereal. He didn't like it. He immediately spit it out. We're working with the foods he does eat, and we introduce new foods when we can. But it's hard. Luke needs a lot of therapy. And not just for RFID. He also struggles with OCD, ADHD, and a learning disability. I believe it all goes hand in hand. He was out of school for days undergoing testing to see if he also has autism, which is often linked to RFID, but the testing didn't lead to any conclusions. Do I think that he's somewhere on the spectrum? Absolutely. I see him on a daily basis and his behaviors and his sensitivity to sounds and lights and noise. But at the end of the day, the therapist didn't want to rush to put a label on him. She explained all of the things he was struggling with and what measures we should take to help. I worry about Luke returning to school. We need to meet with the principal, the guidance counselor, the school psychologist, the teacher. He tested into the gifted and talented program because he's highly intelligent, but he has an IEP and needs help with reading and language. Luke's twin Keller is the polar opposite of him in terms of food. He eats everything. He eats so much that we have to tell him to slow down and stop shoving food in his mouth. But Luke's older sister Annabelle has been affected by what's going on with him. She's 12. And she's sort of the middle child because Shane has 2 older children from a previous relationship. She has said that she feels forgotten because of the attention we have to give to Luke. I try to have conversations with her to help her understand. I've seen people online saying that I took advantage of my child for a reality TV storyline. I would never do anything harmful or hurtful to my child. But we were going through all of these struggles in real time during filming, so I felt like I only had 2 choices, be honest or don't film. I thought it was important to share because RFID is such a new diagnosis. I have a platform to bring awareness to the disorder, and I thought that sharing was the right thing to do for moms who are also going through it. Look, Luke is a great kid. He's the first one to volunteer to help me out. He's an amazing artist. He built all the big Legio creations. The Titanic, Notre Dame, the Concorde. We just have to parent him a little differently than Emily Simpson is no stranger to public vulnerability. But in a recent tearful confession, the Real Housewives of Orange County star opened up like never before, revealing the heartbreaking and hopeful journey she and her family have faced after misreading the signs in her young son's behavior. For years, Emily chalked up her son Keller's eccentricities to personality quirks. The youngest of her 3 children with husband Shane Simpson, Keller had always been the wild card, spontaneous, imaginative, and stubborn. He loved stacking blocks into towering castles, spinning in circles until he fell, and quoting random facts about dinosaurs that would leave adults scratching their heads. I used to say, "That's just Keller being Keller," Emily said, seated on her tufted ivory couch, dabbing tears from her mascara-smudged eyes. "He's different, but aren't we all?" Yet behind her confident Real Housewife facade, Emily had a mother's knowing intuition. Something wasn't adding up. Brushing off the signs. In the early years, Emily's friends and even pediatricians reassured her, "Some kids talk later. Some kids aren't social butterflies." Keller was hitting milestones, just not in the way or at the pace his twin sisters did. Still, there were moments that stayed with her, the way he recoiled from hugs, the meltdowns triggered by the tag on his shirt, the intense fixation on vacuum cleaners, which he'd watch on YouTube for hours, mesmerized. At first, it was even funny, Emily admitted. "I mean, a 3-year-old who's obsessed with Dyson versus Shark? Who does that?" We'd all laugh at dinner parties. But after a while, I stopped laughing. The wake-up call came during a friend's birthday party. Emily recalled watching other kids playing tag, their laughter echoing through the backyard. Keller sat alone on the sidelines, gently rocking and whispering to himself. "I walked over and knelt next to him," she said, her voice breaking, "and he looked at me with those big brown eyes and said, 'It's too loud. The grass hurts. I want to go home now.' And I felt like I'd failed him somehow. I realized this wasn't just about being shy or unique. He was struggling, and I hadn't seen it. The diagnosis that changed everything. Shortly after that moment, Emily and Shane embarked on a journey no parent is ever quite prepared for, seeking a diagnosis. Dozens of appointments, evaluations, forms, and sleepless nights followed. Finally, the answer came. Keller was on the autism spectrum. Emily took a long pause when sharing this part of the story. "I felt every emotion at once. Grief, guilt, relief, confusion," she said. "But mostly, I felt angry. Not at Keller, not at the doctors, at myself for not knowing sooner." She continued, "I thought he was just quirky. I thought he was just my little oddball boy. But he was crying out in the only way he knew how, and I didn't hear him." The new normal. The diagnosis wasn't the end. It was the beginning of an entirely new reality. Emily admits that juggling RHC filming, podcasting, and her other ventures while trying to navigate early intervention therapy, speech sessions, and occupational therapy appointments left her completely overwhelmed. "There were days I felt like I was drowning," she said. "I'd be in glam, getting my hair teased and lashes glued on for a housewife scene while texting Keller's therapist about his progress." Her co-stars, she revealed, had mixed reactions. Some of them didn't know what to say. Others were incredibly supportive. Gina Kirschenheiter cried with me in my kitchen one day. I'll never forget that. Emily also credits Shane for stepping up in surprising ways. People like to joke about Shane being sarcastic and standoffish, but let me tell you, he's the rock of our family. He reads every book, sits in every session, and advocates like a beast, helping others through honesty. After months of debating, Emily made the decision to share her family's journey publicly, not for drama, but for healing. "When you live your life on TV, people assume they know everything," she explained. "But I was hiding this huge part of my life, And if I'm feeling isolated and confused, I know other moms are too. In a recent episode of RHOC, Emily and Shane were shown attending a support group meeting for parents of children on the spectrum. The cameras captured the raw emotion on Emily's face as another mother talked about struggling with shame and uncertainty. "I saw myself in her," Emily said, "and that's when I knew I can't pretend anymore. I have to be real." Her confession on national television was met with an outpouring of support. Fans flooded her DMs with stories of their own children, siblings, and spouses navigating neurodivergent paths. "It's created this unexpected sisterhood," Emily smiled. "I have strangers cheering Keller on like he's their own."